Hi everyone, it's Rita. I thought it'd be kind of fun to put my coat on while we opened up the Akasha of Antarctica. And when I read the prayer that I used to access the records, I went in and I was like, Antarctica on planet Earth, right? The area known as Antarctica on planet Earth, because you try to want to make it really as specific as possible. And as I was opening up the records, I heard it's like, Earth is what you call this planet. So there's other. I just heard that the beings that live in Antarctica call it something different. That's interesting. So I've been watching and looking at some. I have a friend who's in Antarctica right now, and I've been watching some of the Greg Braden shares on Antarctica, and then I watched a video which was really cool because it was talking about how the one of the volcanoes there like spits out gold and crystals and stuff. And if anything the last 2 years have taught me, I really don't believe anything until I have a personal experience with it. So but if that's true, that's really cool, right? And they were talking about all the life forms and the coral and the fish and all this stuff that you don't necessarily think of when you think of freezing temperatures. I think I read even in the summer there it's like 10 below zero or something, right? Something crazy that it's hard for us to think about experiencing. But if you follow that guy Wim Hof, the breath guy, I mean, he can do all sorts of stuff with his breath. So I think we can do anything we want. We just, if we don't believe it, it's not going to happen. And we've really been conditioned around our environment for sure. So what do we need to know about Antarctica? So there's beings there. There's beings that have been there before we came here. So I'm asking, do they have a connection with us? Not biologically. They live under the surface. Do they look like us? No. Do they look like animals like fish or anything that we're familiar with? No. Are there people aware of them on this planet? Yes. Are they more in, quote, leadership positions within our government? Yes. There's a whole division to our government that we don't know anything about. That's interesting. So are there other leadership in other countries, yes, that know about or associated, yes. Will that be revealed to us in the next 20 to 30 years? Is there anything we have to fear about that? You have a lot to fear just because you like to fear the other. And you do that through so many different ways, how you fear the other. But no, you don't have anything to fear around coexisting. You've coexisted on your planet with beings in the earth for as long as you've been in existence. Is there any benefit to us connecting with them now? No, not really. What about these people that are talking about that there's beings that want to come here and inhabit the earth? There are beings already here inhabiting the earth. You don't need to fear these things. So I've got all sorts of thoughts running through my head. So I'm kind of asking them about, our media or our TV or our film, right? And a lot of the films that we see will sort of talk about aliens and how they're, like they're going to attack us and they're going to try to take us over and these things. And so they were just saying that's what sells, like in our environment. I'm hearing you have to have like a conflict or a problem to solve, or it's just the way the human nature is, and it's the way you've been conditioned to believe. And they're wanting me to tell you, I channeled a short story called Elijah's Alchemy, and I did it at a writing lab in Houston. While I was connecting him with a crystal, a labradorite crystal, I started hearing, and I started asking now, like when I hear stuff, who is it? And it was Mary and Jesus. And they were telling me about the lines in the labradorite and how they're formed and how we sort of have these lines and stuff in us, how we're formed based on our experiences in our energy field. And then they said, we want to show you how easy it is to write. So I was just like transcribing the story. And I'll tell you, Mark Twain said he never actually created or wrote anything except for one book, which was on Joan of Arc, which he said took him a couple years. Everything else he was transcribing, connecting into his higher self. And I think that's where amazing art comes from, as which is, to me, writing is art, a form of art as well. So anyway, so I was just hearing that I showed that book to a guy who's a very successful writer and motivator, and he said it was beautifully done. He said the only thing he would change is to create some sort of conflict in it, because people like to have conflict, or like to read about conflict, to have a drama to overcome or whatever. And so anyway, I was just hearing to mention that, that's why these films and stuff are kind of set up that way. And even I'm hearing some of the people that you respect, when they story tell, they want to create a story about overcoming something or a challenge or whatever, because they feel like you're not going to pay attention because you've been so conditioned in your life that, cellularly, you're kind of drawn to drama, or you're drawn to overcome a problem. There's a belief that that's why you exist. It's a sort of a survival thing. So anyway, that's interesting. So the beings are not to be feared, and we have beings that walk among us. Again, not to be feared. You know them. So I'm hearing that I have some in my world, which is kind of interesting. And some of them have acknowledged to you that they don't feel totally human. That's true. I have a couple friends like that. And I love them and respect them, and they're amazing souls on the planet. So it's nothing to... So let's get back to Antarctica. So there's beings in Antarctica that have been here before us. Yes. Do they have other beings or aliens living among them? Some. That's interesting. And they actually move. They can move with their thought patterns. Kind of sensing in and relocating as they wish. So what else do we need to know about Antarctica? The changes that are happening on your planet in the environment have been planned and in place for many, for eons of time. And you can see that. If you kind of take a step back and look at what we know of as the Earth's evolution, and there's a lot of stuff I'm hearing that we don't know about. And again, there's nothing to fear. There is an obligation sort of to just be responsible. To be responsible for how you treat your environment, and treat the earth. And there's a lot of accountability that needs to be given to corporations as well. I was just talking to a friend last night about that. What do we need to know about that? Just that it's not fair to blame individuals for the environmental things. And there's so much room on your planet. So much room on your planet. Just like Antarctica, there's so much room here. If you felt like you wanted to live here, you could. There's an abundance of fish, there's an abundance of sea life. What about the structures that they're showing? Those are old ruins. So as the ice melts there, you're seeing old ruins, but that's not, they're ruins like you see on your planet when you look at Egypt and the pyramids and the places around your planet. It's sort of like that. But that doesn't mean that that society or that there are no beings there. It's just like your planet. If someone were to come down and see these ruins, they might start having a conversation about what civilizations existed there, but it doesn't mean that there's not a current civilization there. What else do we need to know about Antarctica? There are experiments that are happening there, galactic type of experiments, but not in a evil or bad way. There's just experiments that are happening in that area under the surface. And I'm hearing, yes, of course, under the surface. The under the surface goes very, very deep. Whole civilizations. That's their environment. That's the environment that they're used to. And you have beings and civilizations under other parts of your earth. Nothing to be afraid of, nothing to fear. There's a desire for just keeping the planet safe and thriving. And as you focus on a thriving planet, there will be more and more technologies that will come forward that will enable more and more of the thriving. Because what you focus on expands. So as if you want the thriving planet, that's where you need to focus and see the planet thriving, and things will come forward that enable more of that thriving. That's cool. So what else do we need to know? We're at 12 minutes here. The ancient civilization in Antarctica wishes nothing but peace and love for the planet. And eventually there will be an acknowledgement and a coexistence. But again, it will not happen for about 20 or 30 years of what you call the 20 or 30 years. Explore without fear, explore without judgment. Do not fear the other. Focus on your thriving and your happiness, and you will live an abundant, wonderful, beautiful life. That's cool. Anything else? We appreciate you opening up the Akash of Antarctica, as it's a beautiful, beautiful place with beautiful inhabitants that love this planet, just like there are beings outside of this planet that love it. And nothing will ever happen to this planet. Nothing destructive will ever happen to this planet. They won't allow it. That's cool. You are loved and you are supported, not only within your energy fields, but beyond the planet. That's cool. Thank you for watching this video. If you like any of these videos or you want to, please feel free to share them or share the channel. I started a film on energy fields. I'm actually focusing on the book right now, as well as trying to get a sponsor, for the film, putting together kind of a sizzler for that. And I'll just keep you up to date on how it comes forward. All right. Blessings and love to you. Take care.